Hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Welcome back to my channel. I have a lot I want to say today, so I'm excited to jump into this and talk about it. Has K-pop always been this crazy? I don't know. But there's a lot to get into, and I wanted to talk about RM addressing being quote-unquote sellouts after the release of Dynamite and Butter. There was an interview and some clips that were all over the internet that kind of talked about this, and I have a lot of thoughts on what is going on. I also want to talk about Lucas from WayV and his recent scandal. There's some new quote-unquote evidence that came out that shows that the girlfriend may have lied. So grab your dumpling, tea spilling mug merch, and let's jump into the tea. If you're new here and you're interested in this type of stuff, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified anytime a new video drops. And if you're a hater, like to be first, leave your hate comment. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell also, and you'll be first to do so. Now let's jump into it. The first thing I want to get into is the topic of BTS selling out. This is something a lot of artists get accused of when they decide to change music or do something different. In fact, BTS was accused of this at least twice on a very big scale. I'm sure with every music video they put out, they get called a sellout from haters, but it was said twice on a big scale. But before I get into that, I do want to clarify a bit about this industry and just context. It's no secret that the entertainment industry is hard. I think because it's so hard, you have parents that say things like, do something realistic or something like that. It's hard to make a living doing this, and even if you do manage to make it a living, if you do not adapt or change or do whatever you need to do to maintain some sort of relevance, you lose your career. And of course, for a lot of celebrities, they don't particularly need the money anymore, but their team does. Underneath any global artist, and even non-global artists like some YouTubers with 1 million+ followers, underneath them is a couple of employees to literally hundreds or thousands of employees. These people rely on your success in order to have a job. Also investors, because BTS directly impacts Big Hit or HYBE's stock market. When BTS has a comeback, the stock goes up because they're selling more. The investors of HYBE's stock make more money. So you have a lot of pressure to maintain a certain level of success to be able to keep your employees, because when sales go down, they have to fire people. And when sales go down, investors will leave. BTS has to constantly worry about the next thing they need to do to keep going and keep growing. Back when BTS first debuted, they were trained as more so hip-hop artists. They were doing hip-hop routine, and back then RM, J-Hope, and Suga kind of took the lead in the songs. Now we have the vocal line taking lead in most songs. So when BTS transitioned from hip-hop to K-pop, BTS was called a sellout then too. But this was at the time hip-hop in the Korean market was kind of starting to go down, and pop music started being the thing that everyone was talking about. So obviously, if they still wanted to have a career, they needed to change. They did K-pop for years and attempted to do that in America. America is tough when it comes to foreign music, and this is me being gentle with my words. BTS had several songs in America before Dynamite, including Boy With Love, Idol, and Fake Love. I think the only one that got the most radio play was Boy With Love. I heard it a lot, but it was because of Halsey. When they decided to experiment and try to do a song in English, like Dynamite, it was clear what they had to do in order to move forward and keep their career growing. After the release of Dynamite, they became a household name in America. The song was all over the radio and performed on so many shows and nominated for a Grammy. You all know this? BTS just thought maybe they had just reached a new height and released Life Goes On, a Korean song, only to realize the racism was a little much, because Life Goes On was submitted to the same radio stations as Dynamite, but didn't even get 15% of the radio play that Dynamite did. It was clear that they couldn't do Korean songs in America. It had to be English. This is when they released Butter and Permission to Dance. And a lot of people took this as BTS selling out, and not selling out in a good way, but doing things just to make money. People took an interview and several clips of RM saying that they would never do English songs. I interpreted this as RM and BTS just having a change of heart. I don't think they had ever intended on making even one song in English, and thus they never learned English in their trainee days and whatnot. Other people on the tweetster leaked their opinion in a message and interpreted this message as RM saying that he would never do a full album in English, which they don't have one. People very much believe this is what RM meant. But regardless, I don't want to crucify them for one day deciding they do want to make that English album. I want to encourage them to go ahead and do it. And especially if they have a #1 English album, the Grammys can't ignore them. But once Butter came out, they didn't bother with another Korean song. They went right ahead and did another English song, Permission to Dance. However, they never got rid of their Korean roots. A Big Hit employee had mentioned and probably had this conversation with BTS. But BTS creates different music for different markets, and they had a Japanese album. So why not also have an English one? And you know what? If one day they decide to have an album that is a country album because they want to reach that market, then yeehaw, let me grab my cowboy hat. I love cows and the country. Isn't it strange that cowboys ride horses, not cows? Anyway, people often forget that the music industry is an industry. Their job is to sell. That is not a bad thing. In order for something to sell, there has to be some value there and things people want. This keeps the economy going, it keeps the artists going, and lets them continue to do what they do. BTS could continue in K-pop, but they wouldn't be a household name here in America had they chosen to do that. They also would not have gotten the opportunity to merge with Justin Bieber's management, or have BTS work with Megan Thee Stallion, Halsey, and Coldplay, and also sign all these American artists to their label. Big Hit's success all ties very closely with BTS's success. It's all very necessary. I'm wishing BTS the best success. I feel like they may be trying to slow down a little bit now, but we shall see what happens. So much in K-pop is going on, and people are acting a bit cray-cray lately, and I don't know why. The case of Lucas from WayV is a very interesting one. I didn't want to talk about it at first, as I don't like to jump to conclusions on specific things like this. I like to see how things unravel first. Basically, a little backstory if you didn't know what was going on. Lucas had just gone through a scandal due to numerous leaked messages and just crazy things that showed that Lucas had gaslit, took money, not like stole, but used money and cheated on his girlfriend. These are crazy accusations, of course. This got so big because the alleged girlfriend had used statements mixed in with statements that everyone knew was true. So it was like half lies. So it would be difficult to debunk them because you're like, that bit is true, so maybe the others are true too. Lucas also released a statement to apologize, and more on that later. But this made people believe that there was no doubt it was true because he apologized. Now, what I'm about to say is alleged conspiracy and nothing has been proven. This is just my theory and my take on everything. It was very strange when a leaked Tweetster account had made a prediction in Korean and talked about Lucas, and this was before the scandal. So either this account is actually a fortune teller, or they knew what was going to happen because they or someone around them had talked about trying to cancel Lucas. This was uncovered by cyber detectives or the fandom, and they had uncovered a lot more than you would think. Several messages from WeChat were leaked where it was clear that it was photoshopped, and people had claimed that the spacing between the messages were weird and some of the gaps were too big or too small. And even something as much as Lucas's Chinese was not how he would write Chinese. There's two ways to type out Chinese. There's traditional strokes and simplified strokes. Modern day, most people use simplified because traditional, it's very complicated, and a lot of people my age don't actually know how. Think of it as driving stick versus driving automatic. But Lucas apparently writes in a traditional way when writing in Chinese. They thought it was weird that in these chats, it was not how he would normally write Chinese. Going back, the accounts that were uncovered were looked into. There were even other accounts that claimed to be Lucas's girlfriend, and they found that the email used to make the account was Gmail. And most people in Korea don't use Gmail, they apparently use Naver. And even the phone number had come from a non-Korean area code. Of course, this was very interesting. The fandom was doing what SM should have done. Now, a lot of the conversation had shifted to if Lucas was innocent and if the alleged girlfriend was lying, why did Lucas put out a statement? People believe that he was probably gaslit so much by these quote-unquote receipts that he probably thought he did those things. How do you look at all these quote-unquote evidence and still in your mind think there isn't a possibility it might be true? You start to doubt yourself and your sanity, and likely that is what he is going through right now. SM needs to reopen this case and take a look at this stuff. It's not amazing evidence, but it's enough evidence to take a second look and have doubt in your mind that what we are seeing may not be true, and Lucas could be innocent. I'm very sad to hear about how there is even this possibility that there's people out there with this much time and this much hatred in their hearts to not just try to cancel someone, but to attempt to even get them to unalive themselves. Because when you gaslight someone this much and allegedly attempt to create fake receipts, they start to doubt if they're a good person or not. And that can sometimes end up with them unaliving themselves. We need to talk about these issues more, and people who are 100% proving to have faked anything need to be in jail. There needs to be more accountability for the people who do this, if they did this. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm featuring this comment right here. Thank you so much for leaving comments. And as always, I do have a Patreon if you want to go over there and check that out. I have a lot of videos over there that I can't really post on here. This is due to copyright or getting taken down, so I do keep it over there on my Patreon. You can get videos over there like music video reactions, performance reactions, ship reactions. You can also recommend things you like to see over there. We do currently have a great time interacting and having fun over there, and there's also 400 videos that are already up on there the moment you sign up. So if you're interested in any of that, link is in the top description down below. There's also a video over there on the front page that goes over how you can support this channel even more if you would like to do that. With that said, there's two videos that will appear up on screen at the end of this video, so click on one of those and I'll see you over there. Bye.